Welcome to the most incredible marketing show ever. The show where each week a panel of respected marketing strategists, all trained and certified by the legendary Dan Kennedy, share their wisdom, experience, strategies, and insights on how to use Dan Kennedy's philosophy on business and marketing in any type of business, and that you can apply to your business immediately. Here's your host, Craig Valine.
Hello and good morning. I'm Craig Valine, the host of the most incredible marketing show ever. And today I am with my friend, my fellow former independent business advisor from Las Vegas for Dan Kennedy, and the author of the $1 Million Equation. And thank you, Richelle, for being here. I'm grateful for you always. And you're a fan favorite, by the way.
Thank you. Why? Because I cuss. Is that the deal?
Cuss. Because I make a lot of money when you cuss. The joke is putting a dollar in the jar every time she cusses. But you've been good, actually. You have not been that bad, you know.
With
and I don't
cussing,
mean
I
that
know.
bad. I mean, only for children watching, but, you know, otherwise you've been good, you know. So.
Yeah. I think, part of getting older is increasing my vocabulary. But an F-bomb is always really great, too.
They say very intelligent people swear a lot. So
Look, but I'm bumped.
So, hey, listen.
Yes.
Today we're going to talk about effing social media. Use the Dan Kennedy way. So how to use Dan Kennedy style marketing on social media. And you do a lot of social media. In fact, you did, we were just talking about doing live videos. You did live videos for, was it 80 to 100 days or something like that?
Yeah, 152 days.
Holy crap. I would double that. Wow.
Yeah.
So talk about what social media really is, how is it different than any other media? Can you answer that question?
Sure. It's because I'm sure if you followed any of Dan Kennedy, you know that this is not his place to be, right? On social media. That's why I think today's show is really kind of funny of how you can use his stuff in a place where he never intended it to be used, right?
Right.
But social media truly is a conversation. And it is a place where you can be a shameless self-promoter, which Dan tells us to do, right? As well as it's not a hit them over the head, let's get married, right? That's always the example that folks use. Is it's pretty much like meeting somebody at the bar. So you're sitting there and you're having a conversation. And so it is a way for people to watch you without letting you know that they're watching.
Yeah.
And if you use it to your advantage, using the Dan Kennedy style that we were taught, 20 plus years ago, when I was a really bad cusser, it will work to your advantage. So it is making sure that you are leveraging a media that people are on just to connect with friends. People are on to peep into the biggest reality show that you could ever watch, right? And use it so that you can make money from it.
Right. And all in all, it's just another media, like direct mail, like magazine ads, like newspaper ads, like Yellow Pages ads, like using the telephone. It's a media, it's a platform for you to be able to deliver your message to the right people. And what you just mentioned and what we're going to mention today, mostly, not all, but is organic social media. And, in the fundamentals, really, the fundamentals of Dan Kennedy style marketing on this media. So let's talk about a few of the fundamentals. Like I know one, and I think we're on the same page. What is one of those medias? I mean, those marketing fundamentals that Dan Kennedy uses that is critical for success on social media?
Yeah, always, my favorite, and this is what, anytime I'm making a mistake or when things aren't working, I know to come back to this one. And it's just that basic marketing triangle, right?
Yeah.
Making sure that you have all three sides of them really, really dialed in, which is the first one is understanding your market.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to have that one. Like, who are they? What do they like? What do they do? What do they dislike? Who are they against? Who are they for?
Right.
What is it? Yeah. And then, the second side is understanding the media. Right? It's like, okay, well, do we understand this media? And do we understand what this media's intention? That's a key one that I think that people miss out on in social media. Understanding that Instagram is really to show pictures in short reels now, because they grabbed it from TikTok, right? And then the last side is your message. So this is the one that I think people kind of screw up too, is that they always want to talk about what they want to talk about instead of understanding what their market really wants to hear and understand and is excited to follow you. You want to go viral, say something crazy, do something nasty and disgusting. You can go viral very, very quickly. That's not our goal. Our goal is to be famous, right? To our people who are listening to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So give me an example. A lot of people start with the media first, which should be the last thing. But let's just say in this case, they have it available to them. So they just go there and they don't even really know if their people are there or not.
No. Or they go because it's free or they think it is free.
Right.
Right.
What's the cost if they're not paying for it? What's the actual cost?
Well, it's the opportunity cost of things that you could be doing elsewhere. Right. It is the time, it is the effort, right? Time and energy spent posting, creating, and your customer isn't there makes absolutely no sense. We're talking about organic, but there's also, paid media. And I have a client who came to me and she had this elaborate funnel that the funnel, she paid for ads on social media, right? Not using Kennedy fundamentals, by the way. Right. So no headline, no PS, it wasn't an intriguing headline. Let me say that. Right. And there were like 15 stops along the way before she actually got paid, meaning they had to see the ad, click on the ad, opt into the page, watch the video, and then after 7 minutes of the video, they could book a call. Now they've got to book the call. Now they've got to show up to the call. They've got to listen to her pitch and then buy. So 9 things have to happen before she can get paid. Yes? Wow. So this is one of those, was that the right media for you? If you've got to do those 9 things, why not just go direct to where your ideal customer already is?
Wow. Yeah. So let's talk about the first one you're talking about, market, right? Yeah. So this is perfect for the paid ad kind of scenario mostly. Sure. But how do you find your right ideal market, whether they're on there or not? So what I was listening to a podcast last night with Dan and Kim Walsh-Phillips. Kim Walsh-Phillips co-authored the book, No BS Marketing for Social Media or something to that effect.
Sure.
Co-authored it, or as Dan say, wrote most of it, but and she followed the same things that we're talking about right now. She said her first book she picked up was No BS Direct Marketing for Non-Direct Marketing Businesses, right? And guess what's in there? That's also in her book. Dan Kennedy IBA Rules for Success. Yeah. So guess what she's teaching? She's teaching exactly what we're teaching. Yeah. She has some great experience and everything with the clients and uses it more on an advanced level. But she talked about something about finding customer insights on the Facebook ad platform. Do you know much about that?
Sure. You can definitely find, like where are they? You can find, but you have to know before who is your ideal customer, right? So it's always like pull it back even further to figure out, okay, who are they? And are you sure that's who your ideal customer is? Or are you just kind of guessing? So there's a confirmation process that you can do in the Facebook Insights, right? So that now it can either confirm or deny your theory. It can prove or disprove your theory in those insights. So it will show you how many people, like, you'd be shocked when you think of, oh, this guy is really, doing it. And I want to follow or target people who follow Dan Kennedy. Well, he's not on there as one of the options.
Right.
Right. So then you've got to go, okay, well, geez, if he's not on there as one of the options, well, who am I going to pick if that is your ideal? So it's yes, it can be one of your favorite little tools to use. However, I'm always start before that, way before that, and then use it to confirm or deny. Right. So,
right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, one thing that I heard on that podcast last night was that, Facebook is obviously a big, huge data mining company, and they coordinate with other data mining companies.
Yep.
So things that you think you're only listing on Facebook as your personality traits and who you are and your behaviors, they're also being matched up to your credit card purchases from, not to scare anybody, right? This is 2024. This is just happening. All companies use it to some degree. Absolutely. But you can find out all about that customer in many different ways. Like what she did with GKIC was, when she was managing their social media, and she found out that the average person who followed GKIC, or in some way on their list, right? She uploaded the list to Custom Audiences or to Customer Insights. She found out that on average it was a white male between 35 and 55, who traveled a lot, had a lot of customer miles, airline miles, and they had families. And lots of other little details that are not listed on Facebook alone, right?
No.
These are things you couldn't check off unless you upload your list to find out more about who they are. Then
or attended a live event. I can tell you when waiting for the line in the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's who they were.
Right.
Because I walked straight in, right?
Right. So, the point being is know your customer just as much. Yeah. This media is no different than any other media. In order to get better results, the triangle, right? If the triangle isn't complete, market, message, media, then you risk poor results.
Yep.
And so this media is no different. Just posting it out there and seeing if anybody responds. And when nobody responds, you say, oh, this isn't the right. That may or may not be true. It just depends which part of that triangle are you not complete on.
Right.
Have you not done your research on?
Right.
So
I giggle when I think about the data mining. Just a really quick thing is I always used to say, hey, when you are on Facebook, do you see anybody see ads for Tide? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, how do they know I use Tide? I was like, because when you go to the grocery store, do you run that loyalty card?
Right.
So that you can have the discounts for the week? And they're like, yes. And I go, so you don't think that when you buy it and get the discount on Tide that they're not sharing that information?
Right.
I'm like, oh my gosh. It's like, yeah, everything. And it brings us back to a Dan Kennedy trait of, everything can be solved from a sales letter or some type of marketing thing, right? And so that's how they're like, well, how do we get people to tell us that they use Tide? If the credit cards, because sometimes, credit card data mining, they don't give them as much information because of privacy laws. Right, like, well, why don't we give them a discount if they do it and use their card, and then we can get the details from the card.
Right.
Or the coupon.
Right.
Right. So it's just all ways to make sure that, one of the no BS rules is always, capture the information.
Right.
Like make sure that you capture the information. So even with social media, that's where pixels come in. We need to make sure that you are tracking them. So one of the gals that I follow on social, who does Facebook ads, she calls it building your invisible list. So
Right.
she's like, hey, I want you to have like your solid list. That's your email list. That's people, but also be building an invisible list of people who have watched over 25% of your videos, of people who have clicked on your profile, of people who have gone to your page, right? Now you have an invisible list that we can retarget, and it reduces the amount of your ads. But using these are Kennedy fundamentals, right?
Right.
That now they are using as a platform, but just building upon, whether it be Kim or Laurel or Billie Jean, right? Or any of the biggest folks that are out there selling ad courses.
Right. Right.
This episode of The Most Incredible Marketing Show Ever is sponsored by Richelle Shaw and her new book, $1 Million Partnerships. You can grab the $1 Million Partnerships Accelerator Kit at www.milliondollarpartnerships.com. That's www.milliondollarpartnerships.com. Now, back to the show.
Awesome. Let's move on. You say there are 3 easy ways to create posts, stories, and videos.
Yeah. Well, yeah, what does Dan say, right? Is he goes, number 1, we need shameless self-promotion.
Right.
We also need to be somebody. Like, who the hell are you?
Right.
Be the king of pop. Be the, you can't, Michael Jackson, but he's dead. So you could be the new king of pop.
You could be.
Right. One of my clients is the new king of pickleball. Right. He saw that pickleball is all the rage. And so that's who he has become. He does custom backyard courts for the affluent. So if you are looking to build a pickleball court in your backyard and you say, who can build it? Guess what comes up? The new king of pickleball, right? My client comes up. So it's being somewhere. So this is an easy way to create your post. Be him, right? Be that person and tell people that you are that person and tell why you are that person. Very, very easy, right? The second thing is be somewhere. So as the new king of pickleball, guess what? He goes to pickleball events. He's out in his backyard playing on his court, right? Easy post, easy stories, easy videos that he does. Here's my way. He even shows he's been in recovery because his elbow went out. Those of us that are a little older, now that he's 50, his elbow went out from playing pickleball. So he's in the chiropractor's office, he's in the rehab center, and he's videotaping all of that, right? Easy posts, story ideas where he's being somebody and he's being somewhere. And then the last one is do something, a Dan Kennedy policy, right? Where he tells us just do something. Are you going to support a local charity? Well, that combines your be somewhere and being somebody, right? Support it, be a sponsor of, do something in your community, do something online, do something. And those are ways that you just gather it, right? So that if you are being somebody, being somewhere, and doing something, those are just 3 easy ways that you put them, you document them, as Gary Vee says. Right? Now we just document them and people see what you're doing, because social media truly is just a reality show. Just a reality show. And your stories should be your daily reality, right? Your posts should be what is the basis of your brand. What do you want to be known for? What do you want to tell your philosophy in your posts, right? And then your videos is your brand and your reality show in action. So your videos are just documenting what's going on, and it makes for people to sit there and go, your ideal customer, when you started with your messaging, you start with who this is for, they totally get it. So for this particular client, right, he always starts with, hey, if you are an aspiring pickleball player. So he starts that way. So now they're going to watch the rest of the video. Yeah. For my specialty dentist, they start with, is it time for your kids to get braces? Right. So today we have lots of orthodontists coming in. I wrote some some content for them. And so that's the content that I'm doing in my videos today. So that now it is by land or by sea or by any other way that Dan tells us to do, that we hit them in just multiple areas.
Multiple media simultaneously.
Yeah.
And being omnipresent, right? So no matter where they look, they see you or they find you.
Yes.
And can you talk about retargeting real quick for someone who might be watching who doesn't understand what that is?
Oh, sure. So like once they've seen a video or once they've been captured by the pixel and inside of your invisible list, okay, you can tell Facebook or Google or wherever across anywhere that ads are allowed, run my ad only in front of somebody who's seen my pixel or has gone to my site or has watched 25% of my video or is on this email list. Right. So you can upload your existing email list and your ads will be shown just to those people, which is, Dan having the right market is now you're only targeting people who have watched your stuff before. So if they've raised their hand and said they're interested, that's all we want them to do.
And they do that. They show that by watching that percentage of the video, because if it's for them, they're going to watch it. If it's not for them, they're not going to watch it.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
That's brilliant. All right. I love this. How do you use advanced Kennedy principles to seduce your audience?
Seduce your audience. So one of the things that I love about what we learned in Kennedy style marketing is how to use your marketing to overcome objections. Right? So you start with, what objections are your clients already giving you? Okay. What have they said? Is it really that they don't have enough money? Is it that they don't have enough time? Is it like, what is that backstory? And so that's what you use. Your content is based on what the backstory is. So for example, right? One of my principles is you need to establish authority by writing something. Okay. And so most people go, I'm not a writer. I was bad in English, especially my doctor clients, right? They're like, you've seen my handwriting. I can only write for my colleagues. And I'm like, no, this is an easy one, right? We are going to write it for you. But because I know that they don't like to write,
right,
then my content is about how we write it all for you. So I say, hey, do you know that writing a book can really catapult your practice? Well, what if we just write the book for you? Now we've got some seduction.
Right.
Now we've got some seduction coming, because now they're like, oh, wait a minute. Let me watch, right? Let me watch. But that only starts when you know the objections. So what is the other objection? One of my favorite that one of my other mentors taught is that he was selling gym memberships. And when he would talk to women, they would say, oh, it's, I just don't have time. It just doesn't make sense. And he's like, you really do have time. But he actually said, well, what it was, the backstory. And turns out that the backstory was, every time she left her 3-year-old to go to the gym, the 3-year-old would cry, kick, and mommy, please don't leave me. And so she's like, I can't deal with that. But if we talk about or interview one of our new clients who talks about, well, you know what? My 3-year-old really used to cry when I first started leaving him. But now he's fine once I leave, and I need that hour for me so that I can battle him for the rest of the afternoon.
Wow.
So they don't even know that we're seducing them.
Right.
But they resonate with that story.
Right.
Right. So you take what their biggest fear is and you keep going, the whole why. Well, why don't they have enough time? Well, they do have enough time. They just feel guilty for leaving their kids. They feel the doctor feels overwhelmed. The doctor feels as if he writes it, that he's going to be judged by his colleagues and that it needs to be PhD worthy, right? Ooh, I love the eye roll, right? Because it's like, no, you're not. They could care less.
Right.
They're in the book that we write is not so that you can show the latest technique that needs to be discovered and needs to be approved by the FDA. Like, that's not what we're writing. We're writing, how you are the expert and how you're going to make the patient feel comfortable when they come to you, especially a dentist, right? That's biggest fear that your patient has, is that you're going to hurt them, and that it's going to hurt, and that's going to hurt for a long time. So your book is how we have gentle, free procedures so that you won't feel it. Isn't that awesome? Right? So it's figuring out what their fear is. And this is a classic Dan, right? Figuring out, what are they afraid of? And then creating scenarios around what they're afraid of, or using your existing customers' testimonials to overcome those.
Yeah. One of the books that we looked at together on the I Love Doctor books had headlines highlighting that pain point or that thing that they were concerned about.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's I love the I Love Doctor book,
Yeah.
It's one that, you give away. It's so fantastic. And it was so brilliantly done that I just fell in love with it. And now I do it for every single doctor that comes in. We're writing an I Love Doctor book. Yeah. I love the doc book. In addition to all of those, like Dan taught us how to, the same way of seduction, and you don't even know that it's happening. That's what I mean by seduction, is make sure that we do some polarizing things, right? Something, who are we fighting against? Like, is it big government? Is it Donald Trump, right? If we're being, that's what the speeches were last night at the Democratic at their conference. Is it Kamala, right? That's what it was 2 weeks ago. Like, who is the big scary monster that we need to fight against? Is it Elon Musk? Is it X? Is it who is it, right? Pick a fight. So he used to tell us always to pick a fight. Like, you just pick a fight so that it galvanizes the people who are with you. Common enemy, or something that's polarizing. Like, algorithms love when you are polarizing. So if you're just, well, but you can be this and you can be that. No, that doesn't go viral, right?
No.
If you want to be this, you need to do that. That goes viral.
Yeah. Remember Dan's common thing: if you're not pissing someone off by noon every day, you're not doing your job well.
You're not doing your job well, right? And my other favorite is if we're not given refunds, then I'm not selling hard enough.
Right.
So it's like, right. But it is always, we live in a tiptoe society, right?
Yeah.
Where we're constantly, tipping. Ooh, can I say? Ooh, can I not say? The one thing about social is you get to say whatever you want to say. And there are people who love that about you, right? That this is just who you are. And what I have always loved about social, and we laughed in the beginning about my potty mouth, is it's just that I'm on TV all the time, so I've kind of tamed that.
Right.
But what I love about social is I just get to be me. And the people who are attracted to me come to me. Like, I don't have to pretend. I don't have to, hey, if I want to be in my Dan Kennedy sweatshirt every single day, that's what I was in, doing videos, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, if I'm on my couch, then that's it. It's that renegade lifestyle of, I get to freedom. For me is being able to do whatever the hell I want, whenever I want. And I like to show that in my videos, being anywhere in my house, not sitting at my desk so that you can see, here are my books, here is my whiteboard, here's how I stop it. I'm here sometimes, but the majority of the time.
Right. Funny about that being polarizing or not, I remember when I first started my local chapter, I was using my son, who was very small at the time, referred to him as mini me because Dan is very big on using personality and copy to connect with your audience. So he said, use yourself, use a spouse, use a child, use your pet, whatever it is, use a made up character, the Disney effect, Mickey Mouse, right? So I would use my son in my everyday emails and talk about mini me. And so one day I got an email from someone who had been a member of my local chapter. And she goes, and I'm tired of hearing about your son and hearing about you going to the bathroom and all that stuff. I wasn't talking about that stuff, but she just equated me sharing my life with her about going to the going to the bathroom. She goes, one thing you're going to find out is your mini me is going to be is it going to be a disappointment and all this stuff. And I was like, holy crap. And she goes, I'm not going to your meetings anymore, and I don't want to get your emails anymore. And I said, that's okay. Good for you. Good for you for telling me. Good for you.
Right. Give her the finger. See, now I'm going to cuss. Like, what?
Yeah. No, I didn't I laughed. I mean, I thought it was funny. But do you know how many others look forward to it? And to this day, if I haven't, let's say I've been doing this with the local chapter since 2007.
Yeah. 2007.
People who I haven't seen in years say, how's mini me?
Yeah.
How's he doing? He must be in college now. No, he's graduated from college. It's like, they still refer to him because that was the connection point. There was a reason they connected. Either they were parents, wish they had that relationship with their son, their parents had that relationship, or they wanted to be parents and have that relationship, they connected. And that's why I had people, and I still have people with me today after, 15 years, 16 years.
Right. Not only that, here's what's so funny, Craig, is with all of that, right? My kid just graduated from high school. Yeah. I did the same thing. I did stop calling her mini me though, because I don't want her to be me. I wanted her to be something else. So now I call her my best, my billionaire.
$1 billion bestie.
Yes. Because I want her not to do millions like I want her to do billions. Yes. So I call her my $1 billion bestie, and she's all over. So she just graduated from high school, and I announced that she graduated from high school and showed her Cash App. Okay. My kid, because she's been my person in copy, using the Dan Kennedy, got so much money from strangers.
Oh my God.
She kept showing me, Mommy, who's this? I'm like, I don't know. Like we're checking them out on social. And I'm like, so I was sending thank you notes because Dan says we need to do that too. Right. And thank you so much. And please, please can I have your address? And so she was just writing a thank you note. I'm like, you need to do a sales letter. So she was writing, thank you so much. Let me tell you what I'm doing with the money. Let me tell you how you've impacted my next career. Right. she did fabulous thank you notes. But that's how personality and copy works, is that people become invested with you.
Yeah. I mean, just one more and then we got to close up. But, number one, I called him the college boy while he was going to college. The college graduate is who he is today.
Yes.
But we use that too, because I was using that on social media, as well as email and direct mail and all that stuff. People, when he needed to raise money for a trip to Washington with his middle school at the time, we sent out the mailing to people that we knew from social media.
Yeah.
And he raised more money than he needed to, but he wrote the letter. I modified it a little bit. I put it in crayon, marker or something like that, and it was a PDF letter. And he made a lot of money. Same thing for his graduation. I said, hey, mini me is now college boy. He's going to be the college graduate soon. If you'd like to send him a note or some, and that's because they had a relationship with him as much as they had a relationship with me.
Absolutely. And that's what actually social does, is it allows them to participate in your life without notifying you until they're ready. Right. And then when they're ready, then they regurgitate all of your posts to you.
Yeah.
They say, oh my gosh, I had experienced a cancer journey over the last 2 years. And so I wasn't one of those everydayers, right? I didn't even allow people to know until I was through it, just because it was such a difficult process. But with that, now they all ask, hey, how's it going? How you feeling? What are you doing? How can I help? How can I serve? How can I be more connected to you, just because of this journey? And everybody's got a story of somebody who was impacted with cancer, right? So in social and in all your marketing, which are truly advanced Kennedy principles, we use everything.
Yeah.
And I always used to tell my group, we use all the things that you don't tell anybody.
Right.
All those secrets. Now is the time to use those secrets so that it can connect with your ideal tribe and your ideal audience.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we have to wrap up. Always wonderful to have you. How can people reach out to you if they heard something they like, or if they just love your beautiful face and they want to say, I need to know that beautiful person and be connected to her? How would they reach you?
And if you're going through a cancer journey, or you have a loved one who is, I'm always an open ear and can give you some of how I battled through and how I am now thriving after losing all my hair and dealing with that. So they can find me at Richelle Shaw on all social. They can go to RichelleShaw.com. I think in my thing here, there's my agency that we do all the social media for you, for doctors, specialties, experts. And they can find that at themdeagency.com, themdeagency.com, or at RichelleShaw.com. You can find anything and everything you need to know. All of my socials on Richelle Shaw. If you Google me, I think there is about 2 million entries all on me, because I've been sharing everything about me for a long time.
Right. And just to get her spelling, there it is right there. RICHELLESHAW.
Like rich girl, right? Rich
girl. Rich girl Shaw.
Girl for French.
All right. Well, listen, if you're listening to this and you're a fan of the show, we have a free gift from you, from Richelle, from myself, and also all the other panelists, my friends and former Dan Kennedy Certified Independent Business Advisors. You can get that at www.mostincrediblemarketingshowever.com. In fact, if you just type in mostincrediblemarketingshowever.com, you can get there. Free gift from all our former panelists, Richelle and myself. Also, we record this on Wednesdays live on YouTube, but we're on all podcast channels on Thursday. But on YouTube, if you want to follow us, you can go at Most Incredible Marketing Show. So youtube.com/@mostincrediblemarketingshow. Richelle, again, thank you, my love. I'm so grateful for you, and another great conversation here. And if you're listening or watching to this, I'm grateful for you as well. Keep on coming back. We have great shows coming up soon. So that's all for now. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining us this week on The Most Incredible Marketing Show Ever. New episodes are available every week on Thursdays. To receive a free gift pack from our expert panelists and get access to show notes from previous episodes, be sure to visit our website, www.mostincrediblemarketingshowever.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and click the bell up in the right-hand corner to be notified of future episodes so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate you clicking the like button and leaving a comment on what big aha you got during the show. That's it for today's episode. See you next week.